Hi, this is Kurt with Grimburg, and today we're going to show you how to assemble our Gavle pistol. The first thing you do is there's a little washer in the back first. Next, the spring goes in. And after that, you have the air chamber, little plastic bumper that goes over this part we call the air chamber. Has an inner and an outer piece, has a little slot for a screwdriver in it, and it's held in place in front with a set screw. And this set screw is a 1/4 inch set screw. So what you do, put silicone on the bolt just like every other launcher, generously. And insert it. The spring does go on the bolt, and the bolt goes on the air chamber and the gasket. And you can either get a long wrench, or you have these little bits that fit in a screwdriver, and you screw it through the first set of threads. So what you have to do is push. I might not be able to do this on camera. Let's see. You have to push the bolt in with a screwdriver and then jam a pen in there. All right, here we go. So we compress the bolt spring, and if you can see that the bolt is right there. It's now entering the breech of the barrel. So we jam the pen in there to hold the bolt forward. After the pen's in there, now it's easy. Now we screw in the rest of the air chamber and lock it down against the seal. Now you can pull out the pen and let's see. Now everything's in place. I don't know if you can see, but the bolt is moving into the breech. The next thing we want to do is put the sear in. The sear goes in this area right here. The sear looks like this. Right. And there's a pin that goes in here. You gotta line it up. And you take the big pin and you drop it in. Push it in. You shouldn't need any real force. And now the sear's in there. Right. And what we want to do is take a little screwdriver, a little pointy tool, and hook it on this back pin. Now we install these pins when we do the Cerakoting, because we have to have something to hang them on in the ovens and while we're painting. So this pin is going to be there. There we go. Now that spring is pulling the sear back against the bolt. Yeah, if you make the sear pivot, it releases the bolt. Hope you can see that. Here's a cam. This thing links up when you're pulling the trigger, and it pushes the sear up so it can release the bolt. You put the pin in, and it went in perfect. The cam's in there. It's right there, this piece. Okay. Then we want to put the lower cam pin in, because that's what makes contact with the, hooks onto the the linkage that hooks onto the trigger. Here's what we call the manifold. Here's a piercing fitting. This goes in the bottom of the manifold. I screwed in the bottom here. And it should be really tight. We probably should be using a wrench to put this down. That goes in the top. First, this screws into the manifold. Screw it in there. Right here, you have a little tube with two compression fittings. You can screw it into the gun body. There we go. The screw goes in, tighten down. Now the manifold's half attached. Now we've got the trigger. Put the pin through, line it up with the trigger. Right here is a little cutout, and the trigger also has a cutout in it. All right. This is the back cap, and that just screws on like you'd expect. It's pretty strong. Now, over here we have a little pin valve, and it goes right in here. On the final version, it's going to be a hex. There we go. And what you want to do here is tighten it all the way up and then back it off like an eighth of a turn, let's say. And then make sure this is still tight. I mean, we're going to factory set that screw for you. We're even going to use a little, it's almost like a gasket material, so you can set it 2 or 3 times and it'll stay locked. So put it on, and we kind of pull the linkage back a little, and it just ends up right in the right place. You wiggle it on there, and it snaps on, and there you go. Here's one of the detents. It's just like our barrels. They go on the sides here. You poke them in, make sure they're in there, and then you've got screws to hold them in place. Set screws to hold them in place. The set screws are hollow, but it still holds the pressure. There's one. Do the one on the other side, if I can find it. There you go. Okay, now we've got a screw that goes in the manifold, but it goes in from the outside of the launcher right here. There's that. Then we have 2 smaller screws that go on the side in the back. And they hold the grip on the body. There's one. It's pretty easy. There's one. And there's another one on the other side. Okay, you have one more screw here that goes underneath the front grip. There's a drill, don't have to. And there we go. That one's screwed in. If we're loading projectiles, they go in the front here. This is the follower. We also have them in, probably going to offer them in bright blue. So the follower goes in there. Then you have a spring. And then you got to put the cap on. It's not difficult. Then, I know we showed this already, but we have set screws that go on the back of the, on the sides of the knob. So you screw your CO2 in to the back hole here. Yeah. And then you put your knob on and you leave a little space because you need room to be able to turn the CO2 so you can engage the gas. Then you tighten up these little set screws here. And there you go. That's it. It's assembled.